Guys, episode 10. Who's this introducing their podcast for tonight? Actually, we're shooting in the daytime today, which is a change of scenery for us. Normally we're doing a late night podcast, but the stars aligned and we're doing a day one for now, so this is epic.
Both the boys like getting to bed on time, so...
Yeah, those 10 o'clock finishes were pretty late.
So savage.
Yeah. You'll notice that I'm starting tonight's podcast, or today's podcast, because on the Saturday just past, momentous event happened. I actually tapped the big man out in Jits first, and I mean, it was just a sensational feeling had by all. You know, there was clapping, there was applause. It was a great day. Everyone was really happy, obviously except Will, who was naturally in the corner crying about it. But it was a really good day, and that's why I'm starting today's podcast episode. And episode 10, we made it to double figures. I don't know if
double figures, baby.
Made it, baby.
Love it. I was waiting to the good part of the opening, but no,
trying to drag it out.
Eamon's right. He got me on the weekend. Actually, it was good. He's getting quite good at the jits. Not that I'm that great, but I have had the wood over him in recent weeks. But he managed to make me nearly suffocate and die on the weekend. So
which is always good in a friendship.
It keeps us strong.
Yeah. I was thinking about the end of the JIT session on Saturday. There was something that I felt, and I hadn't really kind of connected all those dots before in the last JIT sessions that we did. And it was when you do something that you're not really, really good at, but you actually really enjoy that learning process. That hasn't happened to me, and I can't remember the last time I was doing that. Maybe the last time I was in school studying something I was actually interested in, but in recent times, I can't remember that.
Well, that's the thing. The thing that I'm loving about JIT so much is that we know nothing about it.
Yeah.
And we suck.
Yeah.
But we're getting better. And embracing that bottom end of the learning curve where you suck so much, all you have to do is take on as much information as you can and put it into practice. You know, you're not refining skills or anything like that. You're just trying to not look stupid and not get tapped out 6 times in a minute.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think we touched on it in one of the early episodes, is embracing the suck, embracing not being good at something. Yeah. And it's so much fun. Yeah. I mean, I think majority of the guys are 8 weeks into rolling once a week, and we're just about to add another class in. But you can see, and it's so funny to say this, and it's almost a bit of a contradiction in itself, but you can see the ego leaving the fight.
Yeah.
You can actually see people starting to feel their own body and the person they're rolling against out in order to get the upper hand, instead of just going, oh, there's someone's neck, I need to try and squeeze their head off their shoulders.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It's actually good fun.
Yeah. And it's also good too, because Grant, who runs it for us, is JITs to kind of identify what your strengths are. You know how people are always talking about passion projects, what they're good at in life.
What does Grant say your strength is?
Probably the very maneuverable, very very light on my feet, very dynamic. Call me the ballet dancer of fucking JITs.
Grant, every time Grant says an example of something, he points Eamon out and he's like, "You guys are going to be different to this guy. You guys are going to be, moving around, being sharp, looking for submissions. Eamon is just going to try and squash people to death because he's a big guy. He's large and thick, and he's hard to choke out.
And he's always giving little tips to everybody. He's work on this, figure some stuff out. There's some nutritional stuff that you can do. And I'm like, Coach, what do I need? What can I do? Just keep eating. Just get heavier and heavier and just squash people. I was like, all right.
Squeeze them to death. But in saying that, on the weekend was the first time I've noticed that rolling against you is actually substantially different to rolling against other people, just purely because of your circumference. I'm not calling you fat, but you've got big shoulders and a thick chest. Yeah. None of it is muscularly toned at all. It is. Yeah. But you got big shoulders and a big chest, and you're actually harder to get around. Big thick neck too.
Yeah.
And
what else is thick? Yeah.
Your calves.
Anything else?
Where your calves meet your feet. Cankles, I think they call them.
Upper thigh area things.
But I did notice that when we were trying to drill that move together, it was harder to maneuver around you. I had to work so much harder to get that space than I did on the other guys. And one is because you move so slow. And I don't mean that offensively either, because it's a good thing in jits, but you move so much slower than the other guys. They're still very rushed, and they're still like, you know, panic in certain spaces. And, you know, stuff falls into place when people move wirily. And with you, it's a bit harder. I've got to like maneuver myself better to get those spaces on you, because otherwise I'm not going to quite get the choke. I'm not going to quite get your arm out or to isolate something. Or in our circumstance on the weekend when you squashed me to death. You just Snorlaxed me.
Yeah.
I'll see if, I don't know if I got any video footage of it so I can show you guys the artistic.
How convenient. You had 48 angles of you choking me out and you couldn't find a
That's
single
because it
one
happens.
of you
That's
losing.
because it happens every week. And I don't choke you out. I've only choked you out once. I normally tap you out by submission.
Yeah, with arm bars. Which is an interesting lesson as well. Like, I don't know, there's something about like jiu-jitsu that we've done each time where it's something like when you fall into a track and you get lost in, oh, I've got to get the person's head and I've got to wrap them up. And then you forget other things. Like you forget, oh, I've got to watch this person kick. Or like, you know what I mean? Like you got to watch their lower body, or you got to watch all these things. So I'll be too busy trying to crush you to death. And then meanwhile, I haven't even realized that I've neglected focusing on either my legs or something like that. And suddenly you got my leg in a... Like,
Jiu-jitsu is the greatest metaphor for life.
yeah, so far that I've come across. Yeah.
Like, it's honestly, it's so great for life, because you spend so much time concentrating on this one thing that you're working towards, and you're so concerned with like getting this one thing right that all this other stuff happens around you, and then all of a sudden, fucking boom, you're done, because you didn't concentrate to the big picture. And that's the difference between, you know, when we first started and now. Like now, there's so many moving parts. Like it's, you just can't afford to like not lock someone up completely, or not at least be wary of what their strengths are from previous weeks.
Yeah.
And, you know, on the weekend, I dived in a little bit more to unpacking, escaping more, which came to my detriment, and I got squashed. But it was such an interesting dynamic to take, because normally I'm a bit more lively and wiry and I'm trying to like make a few moves. But on the weekend, it was more like, okay, well, let them, I want to get in trouble and learn how to get out of it in a real situation, not just the drills that we do.
Yeah.
And I did. I got tapped more on the weekend than I have in any other week. But, you know, I was trying to better acquaint myself with getting away, which I'm not very good at, as I found to notice.
Well, this is the thing that's really good as like an extension of that, is when you're going to be put in an uncomfortable position at some point. And whether you're in control of that or you're monitoring that, it's just going to happen regardless. And it's going to happen in against people that you don't think it's going to happen against because of body types, but you're going to get put in this uncomfortable setting. It goes, but patience and timing and not overreacting and not underreacting, but just being calm and like forward thinking.
Fully.
It just works like that. And the same thing happens. Like I was wrestling with Bardo, and I got him down the first time, and I was like, oh, he's a thinner frame and he's got longer limbs, and I'm like, but I think I've got him like heaviness wise. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just keep doing my game. But then he just anticipated that in the second round and then just had me by my head. And I was like, okay, normally it's like really uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to get out of this, I should tap. And then Grant was like in my head going, just be patient. He can't hold you up forever. Just how much, you know, I mean, whether or not you weigh 75 kilos on a good day, or you weigh 40 kilos or 100 kilos or whatever you weigh.
I was about to say, we want to touch on your weight rather than everyone else's.
What a good
But
day.
you got the triple figures, well done.
You look at other people as well, and then like, imagine holding yourself up for that length of time. Imagine going to the chin-up bar and just holding your 80 kilos or 100 kilos for, you know, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Like, most people don't have that hanging strength. Some people do have that hanging strength, but a lot of people don't have that hanging strength. Especially when the person is moving, that object is moving. So in my head, I was just like, oh, I'll just wait it out. And then over time, I could feel his grip letting go. And I was like, I thought about times like, if I stay more in the suck and just let it kind of happen, if I stay more in that uncomfortable setting and just breathe and be patient and try to react on my terms, as opposed to being like, fuck, and just get out of it. It's like, I'm gonna be better off. And sure enough, it was like, he let go and it was it.
Yeah, 100%. Same thing happened when I was rolling against Barney. And it's always funny when I roll Barney, because there's always that little brother, big brother rivalry. Like,
Yeah.
I really don't want to get tapped out by my little brother. I really don't. And I still want to very much assert my big brother dominance over him. But at the end of the day, like, I don't take it any more seriously than anyone else's. I just, like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, please don't get tapped out by my brother. That would be embarrassing. But when we were rolling, the same thing happened. And he had me in a really good hold. And I was like, fuck, he's got me. Shit. If he can keep this up for a long enough time, like, I'm done. I can't get out, and, like, he's getting tighter around my neck. And I was just like, okay, what's your get out of jail strategy here? Like, you've got a little bit of time up your sleeve. He hasn't quite got the hold. What can you do? And I was like, okay, I need to make this as difficult for him as humanly possible, and for him to have to try as hard as possible for as long as possible before he gets me. And so I just sort of maneuvered my wrist up under his chin, and I just started pushing to try and make it a bit more uncomfortable, because it's not pleasant having a bone touch your chin or under your throat. I was like, okay.
Well, who would have thought the whole neck area was so fragile, bud? You know what I mean? Like, so sensitive.
Yeah.
Continue, yeah.
Fuck it. And I felt him, as soon as I pushed, squeeze even tighter. And I was like, okay, I've got him. Even though for 15 seconds I was 10 times more uncomfortable than I already was, I knew he was going to gas out first.
Yeah.
And I just went, okay, sweet. As soon as he takes a breath and the littlest bit of tension gets released from my neck, I'm making a move.
Gone in, yeah.
And then as soon as it happened, he took a breath, he loosened up a little, and I pushed his torso away, squeezed my head out, and the game was on again.
Yeah.
And it's just that stuff. Like, you start thinking on a completely different level, not just like panic and throw arms and legs around and hope for the best.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost calculated chaos. So I've been on a moped in Bali. Just works.
Yeah. It does, I don't know, it's something funny about it. I don't know why jiu-jitsu seems to resonate with so many people. And I don't know, like, we came to it at this point in our lives and not earlier or later or whatever. But it's just definitely funny, those cross parallels between the shit that happens in your life and that uncomfortable zone and that uncomfortable setting, and then having that physical test against somebody else who may be stronger than you, maybe heavier than you, maybe more wiry or more maneuverable, and like just plays at your weaknesses and just pushes you and tests you in other ways and just annoys you. Like, I reckon as soon as you figure it out, your shit talking game's gonna be like next level, because you love that little bit of, like, you know what I mean?
I started implementing it on the weekends the whole time.
I mean, like, everyone else is peaceful and nice.
Everyone else is rolling around. I'm just whispering into people's ears, like, come on, are you sure you can hold that for any longer?
You look tired.
Are you tired? Fuck, you feel heavy. Oh, you're jumping on top. Wow, you feel light. You feel really light today, Eamon. It's like you're soft to touch. Yeah. It's almost like a cloud is just resting over the top of me.
Yeah. But but it's funny that element that's there, and that testing element is like, the more you kind of figure yourself out, the more that you learn your physical capabilities and you identify where your strengths are. Like, it's epic.
I honestly think everyone should do it, and for completely different reasons. I would say guys need to do it purely so they can check their ego and realize that they suck at fighting, because that's the biggest thing, is like, every guy thinks they can fight. Every guy, there's something in them that thinks they can, like, throw down and towel up anyone they want, whereas in reality you can't. You couldn't fight your way out of a wet paper bag. And girls the opposite. Girls, I think it's really important to learn how to use close body contact and, like, how to manipulate someone's body in an uncomfortable manner, you know, for self-defense reasons, and also just to whoop ass. But guys, like, and Grant touched on it when we had a bit of a play at the end, and I did what I thought was an awesome takedown. Like, you see it in certain things all the time, and he said, look, you get away with that in UFC and stuff because people aren't, like, their wrestling game isn't that good. But he turned, like, a great takedown into a fucking choke out. Like, I was nearly blacked out before I got him to the ground. And it's just like the simplest thing about understanding a person coming at you with force and what you can do to manipulate their body against them. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to hurt Grant afterwards because I learned a valuable lesson. Like, yeah, that's the crazy thing, isn't it? Like if you were to think, like if my mate tapped me or armbarred me or something like that, you would instantly want to hurt them back.
Yeah.
But as soon as it happens, it's like, all right, high five, and we're back, we're rolling, we're going again.
Yeah.
Even though some of us get heaps tired, heaps quick.
Have a zero tank. Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Yeah, figured as much.
You and Barney.
Well, I think yeah. I mean, that's the thing as well, is like rolling with different people, different individuals, rolling with in different settings. Yeah, I don't know. It's something fascinating, and I don't know. Like, I wonder why, when we're talking about the humility aspect, like I don't know. In my younger years, if I saw someone like Grant, he's still a big dude, he's still a strong.
Big man. Grant's 100 kilos plus. He's 6 foot fucking 2 or 3.
Yeah.
He's a giant.
But if I was my 18-year-old self, I'd be like, yep, let me get at it. Let me have a shot at the club and see what happens. Now I'm like, nah. I'm not thinking that way in general. But I look at him and I look at that setting and I'm like, he could easily destroy me, right?
Easily. He could kill you so many ways so quickly.
Easily, right? But the fact that we have that setting in which you're like interacting with people of different sizes and different elements, it's almost like peaceful, you know? It's like everyone has a chat, everyone has a laugh at the end, everyone stands for a photo, and I don't think anyone's like going home being like, I can't wait to get back out there and just, I don't know, beat the shit out of someone. Which I know that it probably happen in different gyms and stuff like that, or maybe it's a different setting or something. But I feel like you just leave everything there. You go into a little bit of hurt and then you go home and everyone's fine.
So much fun.
Yeah.
I love how like you opening the podcast, because you choked me out, has turned into a third of our chat today. So awesome.
I mean, I don't want to keep harping on the fact that what was it, like 3.5 seconds or something like that? I was just straight in there, straight fucking to it.
Fucking turn it up. From now on.
Well, I have to describe it because there's no video evidence of it. Yeah.
Describe it. Do you even remember how you got me?
No. I think I tripped and you were off balance and I just kind of fell on top. Just pretty standard.
Yeah, that's so funny.
But no, but so good. I recommend anyone, if you're in our area, come and you want to go to a setting that's super loosey-goosey, to come to
yeah, so we do Saturday mornings and we're starting Wednesday nights this week. So if you've got free time on either of those days, come check it out. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like meditative. Is meditative?
Yeah, that's a word, yeah.
Meditative. It's nice.
Yeah.
Rolls off the tongue.
It's easy.
But yeah, come check it out. It's been awesome. But meanwhile, business front, how's everything going, man? Like what's I feel like our value is in offering our real life experience and like what's happening and the challenge we face and how we're overcoming that stuff and the philosophy behind it. So talk me through Eamon O'Connor's last couple of weeks, grinding, blocks, wins, resistance,
everything.
Yeah, touch on it. Talk to me about what's happening with you.
I think it's been September was a punishment. I said that probably on the last episode. It was just poking at me and prodding at me. October's been pretty good in the sense that a lot of the shit that I've been through now up until this point, all the challenges that I've experienced when it comes to what I do, the service that I offer, a lot of it's now in the setting of just when someone comes in, I used to try and go above and beyond in a sense of trying to justify why what I was offering was beneficial for that person. So you would come in and you'd be like, oh, I've got shoulder pain. And I'd be like, let's spend an hour and a half together, 2 hours together, and we'll talk about how I have all these solutions for you and I can fix everything, and this is the place for you, this is the one-stop shop, you know. And then I felt like I was giving 100% of everything that I had for every person that came through. And now how I factor in is completely different. I've gotten so much more peace out of stopping trying to convert people to something and more offering a solution that I, in my experience in life, my short experience in life, and the lessons that I've learned from my own health and the stuff that I do, I now just present information and I go, look, if you want something, here it is. But I've realized now that same conversation is like, you can't do the handstand work for somebody. You can't do the deadlift work for someone. You can't do the chin-up work. You can't do everything for somebody else. All you can do is offer the information. And the more that you get, and I don't think it's necessarily emotionally invested, but the more that you get hyper invested and you expend your own energy in trying to help somebody else do something, it doesn't solve the solution that you think it does. It doesn't give that person what they need necessarily.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one.
And everyone that has a product that is for sale finds themselves in this arm wrestle against, like, why don't people want to buy my product versus why they should buy your product.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, if you figure out why they don't want to, you don't have to worry about why they should. They figure that out for themselves. If you can put a bridge across from why they should to why they don't want to, then you're getting to a closer point of being able to connect with those people on why this is actually something that they need. And for you, it's massive. Like, you know, you can do so much good with someone in such a short period of time for them to take a step forward with their health and wellness. And if you concentrate more on, you know, getting around the fact that, you know, what are your 3 biggest resistances when people come to acupuncture? Like, what are the 3 biggest things you find is their, like, excuses?
Price, time, like availability time, and also time extension of how long something takes.
Yeah, so like the duration of getting from point A where they're a little bit hurt and injured to point B where they're fully fixed.
Yeah, well, not even that, to where they want themselves to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, so if you sit down and you go, all right, so let's talk about the price, and you break that down, and like this is communicated via, like, you know, whether it be pre-rehearsed or something you've gone over, and this is your spiel. You sit there and you say, hey, all right, guys, so this is what we're going to do. This is the program. It costs X amount of dollars. Now, what do you think about what would happen on the other foot? Don't get the treatment, do this, go down this path, hundreds and thousands of dollars in, you know, hospital and doctor fees down the track.
Yeah.
You know, invest in yourself. You know, and then you get to the time, it's like, well, what you don't take time for now, your body will take time for later. That's just a given.
Yeah.
Like, you can see it on a minute level every day. You know, people that overdo it, that overstimulate themselves, and all of a sudden it's like, shut down.
Yeah.
You have to have a break. I suffered from it last week. It happened to me, it can happen to everyone. And it's the same thing, like, but I tell everyone, look after yourself, rest, take time, do the things that you need to do. And I was doing most of them, but I haven't been sleeping well. And did I stop training super hard because I haven't been sleeping well? No. And that was stupid. I had to have 3.5, 4 days off completely to get my body back. But lesson learned, I'll pay more attention to my sleeping patterns. And the duration, same thing. And the handstand is a great one, because everyone comes in, everyone wants the party trick of a handstand. But it's like, no one wants to put in the 12 months of consistent practice that it's gonna take to get it. Same with acupuncture. It's like, oh, but, you know, why isn't this better now? It's like, what do you mean? Like, it can't be better now. We've got to start a process. Like, how old are you? Okay, sweet. So it's taken you X amount of years to get into this state. Do you think it's not going to take at least half of that to get out of it? Or a quarter of it to get out of it?
Yeah.
And people just look at you like you've got no idea. Like you bloody speak in a different language.
Well, the funny thing is like the assumption that it will get better from making 0 to moderate amount of change in your life. Like, in the sense that we were talking a little bit on, like, the end of the last bit about, like, gut issues, right? Gut health issues. And Chris Kress, one of these like paleo sciencey type guys, was basically saying that if you have, like, really bad stuff happen to your gut and you get, like, Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis or leaky gut or all these complex issues that affect a lot of people, it's like there's an expectation that something will fix it and that you'll recover 100%. And he goes, what happens to the individual that can't appreciate that it won't return back to that 100%? And he's like, people don't want to accept that. And they want to live in this world where they can get to this finite point where everything's going to be 100% okay. And there's no necessary guarantee that you'll get to that point. Like, your training might curtail, and you might go, you may wake up one day and go, oh, this is not what I want anymore when it comes to all these movement patterns. You might be like, I want something completely different. Like, who knows what the future holds in that respect. No. But you might be like, you know what, I want to get her back into the dance studio that was before and get these kids to nationals. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like you might go down that path or something. And there's every chance that could happen. And when you look at it in that respect, is that this journey or this evolution of the rookie era.
Phone call during podcast. Is your wife pregnant too?
I think she might be.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. And
fucking hell.
So you might not get
amateur hour.
You might not get to that point that you think you're going to get to, right? Because you're going to evolve and you're going to change. But that doesn't mean that you don't do the work required to get to that point. And I think that's a real mind fuck for a lot of people. Is that you want to get to some abstract point in which everything will be okay. And that doesn't exist. And it may not exist for you. You may think it exists for other people because you see them living certain lives, you see them doing certain things, and you think, oh, that's what I want, that's the type of life that I want, or that's the type of job that I want, or this is what I want to do. And assume that you get to that point and suddenly everything will be okay. I think health is the same paramount when it comes to that. So there's no guarantee that at some point everything will be miraculously okay. You know, like I treated myself for the back pain and all that stuff that I got into this journey with. I don't have any complications from that anymore. But if I'd only gone for a treatment block of like 3 weeks, 6 weeks, or whatever it is, I might still have complications from my back. Why don't I have that? Because I treat myself pretty much every other week for different stuff, but I treat the whole body at the same time. You know what I mean? Like I didn't go through the injury and just go, okay, that's it. All right, my health's sorted, I'm gonna be fine forever and ever. I was like, nah, this is gonna be a fucking journey. So why don't I put myself in a position in which I have the information to help myself? I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna set up a practice. That way I have free acupuncture on tap. Because that worked for me. Free massage on tap. I could massage myself, but you know what I mean? But you in the same respect, it's like you want to surround yourself in that environment in which you can support and progress in your goals. But you're still only supporting and progressing, you know what I mean, your current journey. You haven't reached the handstand point and that's it. But if you look at the average conversation around, it's like, oh, I want to get to a point where I can do 60-second handstand, and I want to do pike, whatever the hell. I want to do a straddle press. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then people will list their goals, and then you go, okay, what happens if you get there? You're just going to stop. It's like, oh no, you have to be forward thinking about what you're going to do forward, right? So if you're going to go all that way forward, you have to go all that way back and go, okay, what can I do now that will get me to that point? And getting me to where I want to get to at that point is not doing sweet fuck all or thinking that I'm never going to have to continue doing this again. It's that expectation and realization that this is a continuous process, a continuous journey, and something where you're always going to have to be held accountable to yourself, to your standards and stuff that you want. I think the health is the same thing.
It's definitely a slippery slope, isn't it? Because on one hand, you would love to make it so it was accessible and easy for everyone to pick up. But you can't, like you said, you can't do the work for people. And that's been the biggest thing that I find is people are fine when they're motivated and when they have a little bit of momentum, but it takes one slip up, straight downhill. And most people can't recover by themselves. It's like generally, in my experience with people that come to the gym and the people that train, everyone has awesome expectations of where they think they can get to and how hard they think they're going to train. But after 1 week of doing what they thought was going to get them there, it's too much to maintain. It's too much to keep up. It's too much to take on. And they don't want to spend their time that way, which is fine. Like I think that everyone has their own like way to fit in their health and their wellness routine around their own life. I don't think that anyone should copy anyone else's or try that. But the thing that annoys me is that people keep doing the same thing over and over again. People keep making that same mistake and trying to do too much and trying to overdo it in order to get this result quicker. Whereas if, so for argument's sake, say that this was a 6-day-a-week training thing and they were like, yeah, I'm going to come to 2 classes and then I'm going to come to do my own gym session and I'm going to get to a handstand in this amount of time. It's like, all right, that's awesome, but can you maintain it? The answer is no. So they do it for 2 weeks, they get really good gains in that 2 weeks and like it comes fast. And then it's like, oh shit, I'm so tired, I'm so sore, like I haven't been looking after myself, like, oh, I can't be bothered to go. And they miss a whole week. And they get a message from us and it says, hey, notice you haven't been at class, like you should come get back into one, loosen up a little. And they go, yeah, I'm gonna come to this class. They come to that class. And then they hold on to the minimum amount of work they can do to still feel a part of it and like they're doing something. Whereas if you started off at the very start, you realized that you're a 3-day-a-week kind of person, then you can maintain that and you're actually going to get from point A to point B in less time than when you decided that you were bloody Jean-Claude Van Damme on the hunt for the middle splits and you were just going to do all this training for 2 weeks, flat stick, and then you get sick of it or hurt yourself and don't want to do it anymore. It's such a slippery slope in making people realize that yes, it's great to be motivated, but if you are hunting outside of what you're capable of, chances are you're gonna slip off, you're gonna fall, you're not gonna get back on the wagon. Whereas if you just go, all right, this is what I want to do, how can I do it most effectively and most in tune with who I am as a person and an operator? Because otherwise you go, oh yeah, Will's doing the 1-arm handstands, I might try that. And you jump into it and it's too hard, you don't like it, you hurt yourself, it's too much effort, too much training. I'm going away from that now, I'm not going to do any handstands at all. Whereas if you just go, all right, sweet, I'm going to jump over here, I'm going to do the warm-up, I'm going to get into this, I'm going to come back in 2 days' time and I'm going to do the same thing again. If you can keep up those 2 or 3 days training a week, in a month's time, in 2 months' time, in a year's time, you've put together the fundamentals and you're better equipped to be able to attack the next little bit. If you go too hard too early, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
Same with acupuncture. Someone come in, get pins. Oh yeah, I'll come every day for a week. And all of a sudden they're bloody like, oh shit, fuck, now Eamon can afford a trip to go to the Bahamas every weekend. But I've got no money left in my account. Whereas if you go, all right, I'm going to go once or twice a week, or once a week, once a fortnight, whatever it is that you can keep consistent enough for you, your body, your finances, your lifestyle, you are going to maintain it. If you go and bite off more than you can chew, you're going to get sick of it. You're not going to like it.
Do you think it's funny, like, if you ask me what the number one thing certain people could do for health, right? And I don't know if movement has the same kind of like analogy kind of standpoint. Is most people ask me what the number one thing I could do and I could offer. I'd say it probably isn't acupuncture. I'd say the first and number one thing that you should do is make sure you're getting the adequate amount of sleep. Just start with that. Have some water. Get to the fundamentals of what you need. And I think most people would go, oh no, I'm sweet, I'm fine. No, I'm doing that, everything's good. Or some people might be like, oh yeah, but I just can't get to that point. And it's like, well yeah, but if you're not sleeping, you're not healing. So there's not really much more external stuff can help you if you're not doing the fundamentals that your body needs internally. In the same respect as if someone goes, oh, I want to get 6-pack abs. Or I want to get this goal at Ghetto, and they put it on the wall, right? I'd say for most people, I go, you don't need to come to class to get the goal that you want. If you adjust what you're eating at home and you did basic workout of like lunges or calisthenic based stuff, you could get there, right? The reason that you come for treatment, the reason that you come to these classes is more than just the exercise element. It's putting yourself in a position in a setting in which it's conducive for you to progress further on both an intellectual level and a physical level, right? In the same way in treatment, someone comes because they want to have a conversation. They want to have an emotional detox as much as they want to have a physical detox to get to their goals. What you offer is basically the journey with a companion, right? You're going, if you come to class, if you come to train, I'm going to help you get there. you can jump on my ship and we're going to cruise out together. Or you can try paddling alone, right? And that's the same thing as what I'm offering. I'm offering only an opportunity to go, oh, well, this is the first point that I've got with my health. These are some stuff that I've learned along the way. I reckon we can unpack that, and something, not everything maybe, but something will suit you. Why don't you jump in my ship and we'll get there a little bit faster. But you're still going to have the same challenges, the same problems, because work life is never going to go away. Your lifestyle, if you keep surrounding yourself with certain types of personalities, is never going to go away. You're not offering like movement. I'm not offering treatment.
You're offering community.
Exactly.
And that's like, I was only having this conversation earlier today. And that's the thing, is that when people make the conscious shift into understanding that this is less about people being able to do certain movements or feel a certain way, and this is more about people actually belonging, people contributing, people helping one another. This is a place to share information. Where does sharing movement as a portal for everyone else to come in and share their experiences and swap life stories and everything like that?
Yeah.
That's all it is. And it's building that wider based community that is why we started. And like, this is, you know, we've said it before, this is ground zero on where we want the facility to be as a whole. You know, we want a place where people can come and get everything that they need. They have the community, they have the nutrition, they have the movement, they have the medicine, they have whatever it is that they need here in one place. But more than that, and most importantly, the community knows that it's here for each other. The community knows that this is the main reason it's all here. Yes, we all have to eat, we all have to provide food for our families and a roof over our heads. So there has to be a monetary exchange in order for that to work. But the thing that holds it together is the fact that we are all here for the same reason, and that is to share, to give and take from each other. Some days you may give more to me than I can give to you, but that's fine, because there'll be other days when you need to lean on me a little heavier, and I have to be the one that's giving, which is more often than not in our relationship.
Very
sass aside, that's the point. The point is, it's not, well, I'll give you this if you give me that. No, the point is that, all right, well, I am abundant enough at the moment with what I have in energy, time, maybe money, maybe food, maybe some classes, whatever it is that I have to give, I can share that with you. Maybe on a minute level, maybe on a massive level. But then there's going to be a time when it may be me or it may be someone else, they come and the piper will knock on the door and be like, hey man, I need some help. You know, can you loan me your ear for a chat? Can you make me a cup of tea? I need a stiff drink. Give me a hug or $1 million. You know, but someone somewhere is going to need that exchange from you down the future. And it may be one of those beautiful moments in life where it matches up. I give you, you know, something and then you give me back something. But it could be completely opposite and someone random comes into your life and you go, oh, that's why I was able to take it that time, because now I'm able to give and share, you know, and make a difference in this person's life. That is the basis of everything that we're building. Sharing, back and forth, giving, taking, resting.
That's it. Couldn't agree more.
Bada bing, bada boom. And it's, I mean, and I really feel like we're onto something special, you know, and I feel like the next 12 months is going to be such a ride for us. You know, we're looking in all the right places, we're asking all the right questions of ourselves in order to be in service enough to facilitate what we've just described.
Yeah, I think that's the big part of it. So all the challenges that you face is so that you can be more of service, not to be less of service. If you rise to the challenge and you rise to the opportunity for that growth, you'll be in an infinitely better position moving forward. You don't, and you consciously choose not to, which is the same thing of going, biting off too much, you know, going, I'm going to train every single day, 10 hours a day or whatever it is, and then not sticking to it after 3 days, because it's an impossible feat. You know I'm doing extras. In the same respect, is like we have to be those types of people that we want. provide an example for. But the thing is, like, the effect that you have on other people is the biggest part of what I want in that respect. It's like, I want to be that type of person that people can rely on. And the only way that I can be that person that people can rely on is if I'm fit for service. So a lot of shit, when it comes to movement, jokes aside, nutrition, when it comes to my own health, when it comes to what I'm doing, headspace-wise, mentality-wise, what I'm doing when it comes to workshops, what I'm doing when it comes to all my internal care, is only putting myself in a position in which I could be like a more contribution to other people. Son of a bitch, what?
I think that's a really nice thing to say about yourself. And
but you're smiling about it.
I'm smiling because I can't get out of my head like 100 times a day. You walk into the gym, you look around, go, yeah, I should train, and then walk back down the hall.
So let me just touch on that.
But wait, I say that taking the piss, like, but in all honesty, your training regime is very on and off. But I have never met anyone that puts back into their own health and their own learning more than you, myself included. Like, every second weekend you're at a sweat lodge or a seminar or a workshop of some sort with nothing to do with acupuncture and more to do with holistic health from a different avenue. And you are always going to those things. You're always putting money back into the business. You're always putting money back into yourself. You're always putting your time and energy towards bettering yourself. And that I can't take away from. But your training does suck.
Yeah.
But in that regard, like, and everyone always has an outlier. Everyone always has an outlier in everything they do. Everyone always has something that they're not going to connect with as much as they do with other stuff. Your thirst for knowledge outweighs your thirst for the game train downstairs. And that's not a bad thing. But it's just something that is funny because we've got the physical down there and you're just like getting blocked by it. But in saying that, I again want to just repeat that E makes up for his lack of wanting to do that physical work constantly in other areas, and that's what most people miss. You know, they drive themselves to want to do all these things, but at the end of the day, there's too much going on for them to be able to fathom how to do it routinely. Whereas, you know, you work to your strengths and you address your weaknesses. I think that's the important lesson to take out of this. What started as a sassy comment circled back into a semi-compliment.
Yeah, semi-compliment. Yeah. Let me point out some of your bad traits.
Point them out.
No, I definitely think that that's cool.
I'm going to take that as a profound, you're perfect just the way you are, Will. And you do nothing wrong.
I don't want to end it on a...
I want to be just like you. I want to be like mate.
I think it's right. Like, I think you follow your passions, follow what you're interested in, and things that you, not necessarily that you're good at, but that challenge you and you can meet those challenges.
I think in a nutshell, and this includes what we talked about at the start of the podcast when we're talking about jits. I think in a nutshell, exactly what we're trying to say here is that don't do something that you're not. Don't try and be someone that you're not. And that doesn't necessarily mean don't do what you're not good at. Because you may not like what you're good at. And you may enjoy doing the stuff that you suck at. But you enjoy it, so do more of it.
Yeah. The whole idea of personal sovereignty, which is like, stop trying to be somebody else for other people. Like, oh, Joey loves, I don't know, muscle cars, so I'm going to buy 7 or something like that. I have no interest in that. Yeah. So why would I do that just because Joey says it's...
Well, it's that gratification that comes from someone else telling you, well done. It's like, well, you know, I'm pretty good at kicking a soccer ball. I'm going to play soccer because the crowd cheers.
Yeah.
It's like, well, shit. If you don't like it, don't do it. Go find something that you're maybe not as good at, but you enjoy doing. You can spend time evolving into it, and that can feed your soul.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh yeah, well, I guess I've got to pay the bills, so I'm going to do this thing that, you know, yeah, I'm good at it. I may as well make it my job, or I may as well do this because that's what they said I should do, and they're happy that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So don't bite off more than you can chew. Do more of what makes you happy. And what makes you happy isn't necessarily something that you're good at. and know the difference between those.
Yeah. I understand.
Just summed up 45 minutes of talking in 3 sentences.
Embrace the suck, yeah.
Yeah, embrace the suck. Enjoy the suck. Whatever.
Yeah. I think that's a really important thing to touch on, and to not disconnect from when you're in that setting, when you're in that moment of like, this isn't where I thought things would go, or this isn't where I thought my life would end up, or everything's over now. It's like, well, okay, that doesn't solve anything. You can't do anything with that. That information, you can only tell that excuse to as many people as you can tell that excuse to. And after a while, people aren't going to listen because they've got their own shit. In the same way as like checking out by just going, oh, I'm going to get cars because Joey likes it. It's a way of just saying, oh, if I talk about a problem instead of working on a solution of a problem, I don't know, maybe someone else will help me, or I can continue to externalize all my shit, or I can continue to place the blame and whinge on other people and all the rest of the world's putting me in this situation. And I'm not saying it at all times it's super easy, but I know that when I do it, and I find it like, for myself, I find it embarrassing when I do that.
And that's the thing. If you are not brave enough to first blame yourself and ask yourself why these things are happening, then don't be so ignorant and arrogant to pin it on someone else. If something is going wrong in your life, you are the one that has to take charge. You are the one that has to take action. Straight up and down. That's it. Yes, people are frustrating, but there's something in that frustration that is actually your fault. There's something occurring that makes you have to change your perspective in what you're doing and why it's affecting that person that way. No, you don't have to apologize. No, you don't have to make a big deal of it. You have to realize why it's happening around you before you can address the situation.
Yeah. And first identify with that challenge. I'm just going, I can only keep talking about this, but I've got the same narrative running around in my head. I've got the same like thought processes that I've always had, that everyone's conditioned in me. All my friends talk about the same thing, and I don't know how to get out of that headspace to then find something that I like, or something that I'm passionate about. It's like, you have to do things that suck or that are challenging for you, as much as, if you can't get to that point where you already know what you like and you're just ignoring it, but you're literally like, I don't know what I'm good at, I don't know what I like, then you need to figure out what that is. So several ways to do that in the immediate sense is like, sit down, close your eyes and stop talking. Just sit and breathe. And all the shit's gonna come up. And meditation's the best at that. Everything we're talking about in the last few episodes, everyone thinks that meditation is just gonna sit down, everything's just gonna be like fucking serenity. Oh, everything there. It's gonna be unpacking and processing of all this bullshit that you tell yourself on a consistent basis. The importance of it is to build focus and awareness that all this shit can go away at any second. All this stuff that you externalize can go away at any second. There's no 100% certainties in that realm. Just you breathing and you being alive is like the singularity of all that stuff. So you just continue to breathe and continue to see all that bullshit just wash away. Or put yourself in really uncomfortable settings, like go for a run when you hate running, or swimming when you're afraid of the water, or whatever that is.
But I mean, this is why I like our relationship, because you don't agree with everything that I say. You don't let me have a win just because you think that, Will's this, Will's that. You don't allow me to ever be right just for the sake of someone being right. You ask questions. You then ask questions about the questions you've just asked. You ask me why I think that's the case, why I believe that, why I do that. It's never enough just to go, the sky's blue. Okay, well, that's your opinion. Well, this is my opinion. What do you think about this? And instead of being angry that you didn't agree with me, it's like, okay, well, let's unpack this a little deeper. Like, there's two sides to the coin. Let's go. Let's have a chat about it. Instead of like, everyone's like, no, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. You're wrong, I'm right. It's like, it's not your information to claim. You know what I mean?
100%.
But people are so caught up in that, game. And I do it all the time. Best one for me is when Emma always goes, maybe you should do this for Ghetto, or this at the opening, or this at this. And I'm like, no, you don't understand the branding concept we're going for. Thank you for your input, but no. And she's like, yeah, but it'd be really cool. I'm like, no, I've got it covered. My idea's better. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, but it's just an external view. You know, your head's always so close to it. You might be overlooking that this is actually a better idea. But my pride says, I'm smarter than you. This is my business. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, right.
And then a couple of minutes later, I think about it and I'm like, fuck, that idea's gold.
We can't use it now.
We can't use it now. We might have to edit this piece of the podcast out too, just so she knows she's not right all the time. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And that's on such a minute level, but it would happen every day when you talk to people and you feel the need to spew what you know about something so you feel like your point is validated.
Yeah.
But it's not, just listen, learn, be.
Yeah, do you speak to confirm what you know or to unpack what you know?
Yeah. I put up a post last week and it said, I want to have more conversations that challenge the way I think. Because if I keep getting told the same thing and that if I'm right all the time, where the fuck can I go? What can I learn? What can I do?
And that's so funny when you look at this ultimate outcome where you're in this like blissful relationship where your work environment is just awesome. It's like, do you really want that though? Are you really searching for that? Because you look to a certain point and you're like, if everything that I know now tells me that when I'm comfortable and when everything's easy for me, I'm lazy as fuck. That I can't, you know what I mean? That I'm not challenged and I know this. And
we're already past that. Like neither of our businesses are at the stage where they're comfortable. And we're already going, all right, well in 3 years we're going to outgrow this place and we're looking to go into something bigger and better and, 2.0 it. Yeah. It's like we're never going to be those people that do it. I feel like we're already aware enough that if you do get to a stage where you're like, fuck yeah, life's good. If you've got nothing to whinge about, pick up your cards, baby. We're going all in.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Rinse the dins.
Episode 10 in the motherfucking chamber. Feels good. 3 away from that elusive 13.
And that day podcast, I feel like the energy was maybe a little bit up there.
Let us know what you think. And we finally, I don't know, hopefully we're going to check in a minute. Hopefully the 2 microphone setups worked. Who knows? We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
But thanks again, guys, for listening in. And because Eamon didn't do it at the start, and I guess it's my fault as much as his for letting him tap me out to open. But just again, thanks to our community, Evergreen Landscaping, Jimmy's Burgers, Coco's Cafe, AcuFit, Acupuncture, Ghetto Movement, and South of Home Creative for all their help in supporting the podcast. Thanks a lot, gangsters. Episode 10, we out. Boom, baby.
I was going to do the mashed potato, you know. That's why I went so low with it.